Hey guys, it's Brooke with the Junk Parlor, and I thought I would hop on here and show you my dining room and some ways we used and repurposed some items and then made some things, and then how I have used vintage items in this space. So this will just be a little quick tour because the dining room is not very big. So I'll go ahead and turn the camera around. So this is basically the view from my kitchen walkway. This house is a craftsman bungalow, and actually we had it moved. The Amish moved it, and so we gutted it and kept all the woodwork and kept the wood flooring, but put in plumbing and electrical and drywall. Hey Jeannie. And so this is the space, and I've basically been going around we did it 12 years ago, and then I've been going around here in the last couple years and just refreshing each space. So it had looked the same for 10 years, and now it's time for a change. So just going to show you what we've done in here. So this table was probably one of my first projects when I started in the junking thing. We built in our basement, my dad and I. This is a barn door that he had. All I did was seal it. It hasn't been changed anything other than that. And I had dad help me make it, so we just used the same size of barn door, and then he had these 4x4 posts that we used for legs, and then we just used 2x4 for the skirt part of it, and we screwed it together down in the basement, and it has been a gaming table down in the basement, and then we decided to move it up here in the dining room as the kids got older. This is a chair from my grandparents' house. This is a chair. Mom bought a table and chair set at an auction back when I was in college, I think, and I'm 40, so that was a while ago. And we've used it throughout the house, and I just keep covering the seats with something else. So this feed sack looks nasty dirty. I mean, it's been in the washing machine, but it was all stained, and I didn't figure anybody was going to buy it, so I just put it on that seat because I figured that way I was getting use, and I wouldn't care if the kids spilled stuff and got something dirty. And then this is a chair from the other grandparents' house, and again, just an old wooden chair that we use here in the dining room. And then over here, I have made friends with some people that I've met at auctions. And one of those gentlemen sells junk, and he had this bench in his cabin, and I went to visit him and pick at his house, and he had this sitting in the cabin. I don't remember where he said it was from, but it's kind of unique on this end because this end is angled, so it probably fit into something. The other side is straight, but it's a pretty good length for this table. Just by chance it matches, size wise. And anyway, when I was at his cabin, I was just like, oh, I really like that, and he was like, well, I'd sell it to you. So I ended up buying it, and then I just kept it for our house. I really like the bench, and I like benches. In our house, it would probably be kind of hard to put it someplace else. If you notice, we have tons and tons of windows in the whole house. So there's not a lot of space to put furniture or even hang things. So when I switched out this room, I painted everything gray, and my aunt had just replaced windows at her farmhouse. Well, actually, her son lives in her farmhouse now, but these arched windows were from her. She wanted me to sell them for her, so I bought a couple of them for myself, and then I sold the rest. This dresser is a dresser I've had for forever, and by forever I mean I first tried to sell it. So I got it, I loved it, it was all stained, and I ended up doing the white on the sides on the basically the frame of it, and left the top and the drawers the wood. It is missing one pole, but it didn't really bother me. And the drawers work well for a vintage dresser. So this has been in our mud room, stored hats and gloves, and like keys, and our cell phones charging station was on here at one point. But then I decided, when I rearranged everything, I moved this piece in to do our coffee station. And then this white piece was over here as our coffee station, and I just moved it over. I did have a big china hutch in this corner that is now in the living room, so I needed something else over there. So I hung the windows. I love wreaths, so I liked this color. It was kind of soft. I do sell these in my shop. One time when I was out antiquing, again, when I very first started, I found this bread box, and it's kind of like a mint green color. And so even though it says bread on it, we store all of our coffee and our filters and stuff inside of that. And then the heat from the coffee pot or coffee maker would, I don't know, have an effect on the dresser top. So what I did, so that it didn't end up damaging it, was just took an old cutting board and placed it underneath the coffee pot, just to kind of keep it safe. I added this farmhouse sign. It's actually from Hobby Lobby. My friend Tracy at the Shabby Nest, she has one in her house. I can't remember if it's in her kitchen or dining room, but I really liked it, and so I thought it kind of fit our house, so I grabbed that. This white cabinet was actually from my grandma's garage. It had been in her house and was part of her kitchen, and so it was a built-in. So this side is kind of funky, and it really bothers my husband, but that's okay. On the other side, I put some plywood, and I tried to paint and match kind of this front look when it was over at the coffee station, because this side was visible. But this time when I moved it, I just left the original end that would have been built in on it. Didn't worry about it. This cabinet, I kind of distressed it at first. I could not get the knobs off of it to really do much to it. They're all rusted on, and then I actually ended up putting a fresh coat of white paint on it and some off-white mixed in when I brought this piece into the dining room, just so that they would coordinate better, because actually the table is kind of off-white, the barn door, compared to all the other white in the room. So I've kind of debated whitewashing that, but who knows what I'll end up doing. And then on this table, I normally do some kind of, again, this egg basket is a family egg basket. I normally do some kind of stack of ironstone plates. And then I got this when I was out junking sometime, and I just like it, so I kept it so far. These I think I got at Walmart maybe, so I just shoved those in there because they match the greens in the wreath. I bought this off of my friend Mary, who I think is watching, and I just loved it. So I felt like I couldn't sell it until I got to enjoy it a little bit. And this is actually not the basket that she had. She had a lot of her stuff refurbished, I guess would be the word. And so the scale basket that she had was very gold, and I just didn't feel like it worked in my house. So I found this one, and I just married those two together. And then the rest of this stuff is just stuff I stole from the shop because it hadn't sold. And so really I would sell pretty much anything else that I talk about. This ironstone pitcher, I just love the patina and the coloring on it, and I stacked it on some old books. This little guy I shared in one of my show and tells, and then we've got an ammo box that they're sitting on, and another little ironstone piece with some wood spindles. So I wanted, the wood is tying in with the books and the ironstone, so just to have a cohesive look. And then I did have a different hanging scale here, but this one, when I brought in the scale basket that was gold, I switched out my hanging scale to this one that is gold, and then used the same cone basket thing, and that's to weigh chickens in. And then to kind of tie in the wood again with the wall, I got this sailboard out of my grandma's barn and cleaned it up, and so that is my great-grandpa, maybe my great-great-grandpa, and hung that up in here. I also have an awesome coffee sign that I made, and I keep debating on hanging it on that wall or not. I am kind of the person that less is more in my own house, even though the shop is, you know, filled to the brim. So when the Amish moved the house and we gutted everything, where the header is right here in between the corbels, that would have been a wall dividing the dining room from the kitchen. So I knew I wanted to open it up. So we ripped that down, and kind of like this barn doors from my dad's stash, the header that has been drywalled, but the header is from my dad's stash too. He used to tear down a lot of barns and houses, and he hoards everything. So he's got all that stuff, and we used that header from one of his barns. Now, had I done that again, you know, now 12 years later, I probably wouldn't have wrapped that in drywall, and I would have left it all exposed, you know, but trends change, so what do you do? And then anytime I post pictures of these metal chairs, I get lots of compliments on them. One of these I actually bought, I want to say the middle one, I bought from Flint Wall, and his business is called Make It Old Iron, and he is open for the Southern Iowa Junk Jaunt if you come down to Centerville, Iowa for the Junk Jaunt, and I actually coordinate it, and he makes these. And so once I decided that I wanted one, I thought, okay, they'll fit this bar nicely, and so I actually got 4. I found him the chairs, and then he raised them up for me. And 4 was just a little bit too tight, so I ended up taking one out and just doing the 3, which is fine, because unless we have people over, we don't normally sit there anymore. When the kids were little, they would all sit there and eat their breakfast while I was cooking and getting ready, and so it worked wonderfully. Then on this wall, I copied my sister. She had taken an old mirror and, you know, came in from the mirror to do the chalkboard. So all this was a mirror, added the chalk paint to it, and I also painted and distressed the frame, and I did that when I was doing my dining room redo. And then Be Grateful, Slow Down, Enjoy Life. I think I literally wrote that over a year ago, but I'm not the person to change things up all the time on my chalkboards. Obviously someone's rubbed up against it because the life is coming off, but this is something that if you follow my page very much, you know that I'm a workaholic and always doing stuff, and I need to remind myself to chill out, slow down. So that note is really kind of just to myself so I can see it. And then I always find ironstone lids. I probably have like another 3 ironstone lids, but I just like the look of 3 on there better than even working them up over the chalkboard. And so I just used plate hangers and I hung those up. And then Flint actually is the one that saved these corbels for me. And so I hung those up, and this is another funny story if you're new to my page. I literally had these corbels for over a year just sitting in the basement because I couldn't decide what I wanted to do with them. So terrible, I know. And then this jar holder, we just put some of the jars that I had in it, and then we have our pop tabs and coins and just random stuff. And then I do have some of our plates on this chicken feeder here in front of the sink in the kitchen part. But that pretty much sums up the dining room at my house. and it's people that have seen it on Facebook and then came and seen it in real life have said that it seems much bigger on the phone or on Facebook than it does in real life. So it's not a big space. I don't even know what it would be, 15 by 15 maybe bigger than that, but it's just right for our family, really. So hope you enjoyed the little tour and how I've used vintage items in my home, and have a good day.